1298 AD. King Edward of England marches into Scotland, determined to destroy the rebellious Scots led by Sir William Wallace. The recent battle at Stirling Bridge greatly heightens the morale of the Scottish Highlanders, confident that they would win another battle, this time at Falkirk. King Edward masses up to 2,000 armored cavalry and about 12,000 infantry. The English force comprises of 214 knights with 900 troopers, 1,000 cavalry supplied by the earls, 500 mercenary crossbowmen, and 2,000 archers with billmen from the Lancashire and Cheshire feudal levies. Wallace musters about 1,000 brave Highlanders, archers, and a few cavalry. The Scots form into 4 divisions of hedgehogs, or schiltrons. The long spears, pikes, pointing outwards at various heights gave these formations a formidable and impenetrable appearance. The gaps between the schiltrons were filled with archers and Highland pikemen with 500 mounted knights at the rear. During the Battle of Stirling Bridge, Andrew Moray used the schiltrons to such devastating effect. However, he was absent from Falkirk due to a mortal wound. Wallace commanded the battle from the rear. His second-in-command, Sir John de Graham, Sir John Stewart, brother of Sir James V, High Steward of Scotland, and Sir Macduff of Fife took their place at the schiltrons and the archers. Though they are brave and strong, Wallace's men are few in number, with only about 1,000 infantry and 5,000 cavalry compared to King Edward's 15,000 men and cavalry combined. The English cavalry, divided into 4 divisions, advanced in echelon. The vanguard, led by the Earl of Lincoln, followed the division of John de Warenne, 6th Earl of Surrey. The division of Anthony Beck, Bishop of Durham, followed by the King's division, formed around the marshy area to the right, toward the Scottish left flank. Wallace must find a way to hold this critical defensive position, or else the English knights weaken his schiltrons. King Edward decides to send his cavalry and knights to march against the schiltrons, hoping to break the Scottish wall of spears and pikes and to capture Wallace, dead or alive. Since the Scottish army's left and right flanks are the weakest points in both the schiltron and pike formation, King Edward orders his English longbowmen to harass the schiltrons while his knights engage in a ferocious bloodbath.
Only intervention by the Almighty Lord or a military genius can bring us victory from this mess.
As the vicious melee ensues, the English try time and time again to break through the massive formation of bristling pikes and spears, but all of their attempts fail. The Scottish spear wall holds strong and firm. As the English knights slowly and surely exhaust themselves from continuous fighting, King Edward orders for a brief retreat. Wallace uses this opportunity to reform his lines and prepare for the eventual wave of English knights and cavalry. The previous engagements leave scores of dead English knights and horses littering the already bloodied field. As the Scots hold their ground, the next few waves of English knights attack and retreat. This back-and-forth tactic by King Edward gives his reinforcements time to make the final push and destroy the stubborn Scottish schiltrons that are still standing firm. The reinforcements come in the form of more knights and a few more cavalry. However, the worst part for Wallace and the Highlanders are the English longbowmen. Instead of viciously attacking the Scots, the English patiently wait to rout the Scots. The longbowmen rain projectiles on the inexperienced and poorly armored Scottish spearmen. The schiltrons were an easy target. They had no defenses and nowhere to hide. Pinned in place by the English cavalry and infantry, unable to retreat or attack, the battle was lost for the Scots almost as soon as the first arrows began to fall. One soldier during the battle stated that the Scots dropped one by one like flies. One by one, the Scots fall, never to rise again from the field. The schiltrons thin, making it all easy for the English troops to break them and rout the entire army. Finally, the never-ending hell of arrows and the final attack of Edward's forces prove all too much for Sir William Wallace and the Scots. With the schiltrons broken and their defensive formations gone, the Scots flee Falkirk. Many are slain, including John de Graham, who fought to buy time for the rest to escape, alongside James Stewart and Macduff. Wallace manages to escape with but a handful of his remaining men and are forced to withdraw from Stirling Castle, allowing King Edward to recapture it later on. The Battle of Falkirk resulted in a disastrous defeat for Scotland, with about half of Wallace's army decimated in a single day. Historians estimate that around 2,000 of the original 6,000 men were killed in the battle. On the other hand, King Edward I lost a mere 2,000 men out of his original 15,000 men. Wallace retreated to Scotland, where he relinquished and resigned his position as Guardian of Scotland. King Edward, however, occupied Stirling and raided Perth, St. Andrews, and Ayrshire. Finally, he retreated to Carlisle by the 9th of September. In 1305, 7 years after the Battle of Falkirk, Wallace was captured and executed on account of high treason. Though Wallace died a gruesome death by being hanged, drawn, and quartered, his death sparked a fiery passion within the hearts of the Scottish people. In 1328, Scotland became independent under King Robert the Bruce, thus finally ending the First Scottish War of Independence.